Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Cutter Degrassism video. And no, it's not a retrospect or a season review of Degrassi stuff because I already did that. It took 11 weeks, but I did Kids at Degrassi Street mostly because I never did a Kids at Degrassi Street Degrassism. It's like, what are you thinking, Cutter? But anyway, yeah, I did that. I talked about all the episodes, spread out over like 6 years and all that. And then came Degrassi Junior High, which had the taboo, of Spike being pregnant. And then Degrassi High with all those episodes, including Claude offing himself. And then I went through 2 seasons, a video for Degrassi from seasons 1 to 14, like the original run. Season 1 having new characters and Emma being catfished. Season 2 having Emma deal with her teacher dating Spike. Season 3 when Marco came out of the closet and Spinner became a homophobic piece of shit. And of course, Emma making mountains on molehills with Manny. And of course, Manny in the love triangle that had an abortion in it. Season 4 when Rick came back and screwed the school over. Season 5 when JT and Liberty were trying to deal with pregnancy. Season 6 when Lakehurst feuded with JT and stabbed him. Season 7 when Darcy went through the motions after being taken advantage of at a party and she couldn't find her perpetrator, so she lashed out. Season 8 when the chef made things uncomfortable. Season 9 when Jenna steals Casey from Claire. Season 10 when Vegas Night ruins Degrassi for a while. Season 11, what was the big thing in season 11? Not anyone dying. Well, a lot of things happened in season 11. Can't think of it on the top of my head. Season 12, when Cam does the deed at the JT York greenhouse. Season 13, when Maya was cyber shamed by Zoe and no one seemed to want to help her, or she couldn't get the help from especially Principal Simpson. And season 14, when Degrassi Nudes just ruined everything. And then, of course, I did Next Class, talked about the 4 seasons in one video because, 40 minutes for 40 minutes for 40 episodes. As a cat is trying to disrupt my thinking process. So what ends up happening is that, yeah, so that's what I did. So this is the first time in 3 months that I am not doing like a seasons thing, Degrassism. It is March the 1st, 2026. It is actually a somber anniversary for me because 6 years ago, I lost my dad, Ron, to heart failure. Well, pneumonia caused by heart failure caused by pneumonia. There's a lot of other things I want to say about that, but I'll keep it short and simple. So basically, I wish I had gotten the tractor shirt, for my dad, but this isn't really in tribute of him. It's just like, you know. So anyway, I've given you too long of an introduction. So anyway, a few days ago, I did the top 10. What was about the top 10? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, the top 10 rage moments in Degrassi history. And in case you want, I will link to that list in the playlist, and of course in the description of this video, and of course Degrassi Reddit. But yeah, Emma being with Peter actually won out on a last second vote, not by me. I would have voted for it. I know there was a tie, but I would have voted for that because that is definitely where Emma went downhill the other way. Like Emma was precocious in seasons 1 to 4, and then the Rick Murray situation kind of ruined her. And then season 5, it set her the other way. Emma just couldn't find the competitive balance. Anyway, we're going to talk about the top glow up, well, not really glow ups, but ugly duckling transformations in Degrassi. Here's what's, so yeah, it's the top 5 Degrassi ugly duckling transformations. Now, when I made the post on Degrassi Reddit, I said, well, ugly duckling stuff, and then I wrote down all the characters that they asked me to do. But one person actually didn't really like that idea, and I can understand why, because it seems that I may have been glorifying one character in particular whose actress actually had an eating disorder. You kind of know who I'm talking about. But no, that is not it. The glow up of the character is not at the time that the actress had the eating disorder. It's at the time of season 4 and all that. So yeah, it's not the season 1 thing with the actress. It's the season 4 with the character. That's what I meant. I completely goofed. And if you didn't like that description, the Reddit community, I'm sorry. That wasn't what I meant to do. I didn't mean to glorify it. Nevertheless, so I had a list of 8 characters that the post had given me and then wanted to rank them. I did a straight ranking list 1 to 8. Unfortunately, only 4 characters got votes. So I'm going to be bunching in who they thought would be in. Of course, at the end of the video, you'll see the poll. All right, so here we go. Joint number 5 is Sig, Lucy, Yik, and Maya. Now, a lot of people are thinking, how are they ugly duckling transformations? Well, Sig, actually, I didn't really like Sig as an option because I'm like, Sig was never ugly duckling. He was always a brooding bad boy, if you will. Kind of like Sean. Lucy glowed up in Degrassi High and all that. I think she was still a pretty representation of black actresses. With Ines Granovsky. I hope let's see right. Yik, Yik was a massive transformation, I feel. In Degrassi Junior High, he was just a storky sidekick of Arthur, and then he grew up to be better looking and more into bad stuff, and breaking off from Arthur as a friend. And then Maya, well, Maya looked decent, but once season 12 happened, she let herself loose because the Cam situation ruined her and all that. All right. Now, time for the 4 people who actually got votes. Number 4 is Claire. Claire, to me, yeah, this is a perfect ugly duckling transformation. When we see her in season 6, 7, and 8, she's just this dorky girl. She's well kept and all that. Kept. She's wearing her Christian school uniform almost every time we see her on screen. It wasn't until the Connor episode in season 8 that she changed her look. She changed her shirt and all that. But of course, Claire's home life may have influenced her fashion sense from seasons 5 to 8. She was known as Darcy's sister, and it was weird that, Darcy was supposed to be this goody goody Christian character, which we thought she was, but then she decides to be with Spinner in season 6 and 7, and Peter for that matter. Like, it still baffles me why Peter managed to get Darcy under his wing. Peter is manipulative, SOB, and all that. Manny and Emma try to warn Darcy about Peter. Peter just says they're jealous because they had a chance for me and then they blew it. Peter just trying to get out of trouble. But yeah, and Claire's the little sister. Well, Claire's home life massively inspired. In season 8, she's basically told to go to the Degrassi and the Gifted class to learn and not be like her sister and her dumb mistakes. Of course, Darcy gets shunted off to Africa when Janae Grimes goes to 90210, which was a big career move for her. And apparently, there were rumors of eating, of like weight loss things. That's what the tabloids said. But the fact of the matter is that, Claire was by herself because Darcy went to Africa. I still believe that Darcy's trip to Africa was not perfectly on her. She kind of, I think her parents just wanted to get rid of her because she had sinned. She had troubles and she couldn't project them on her parents because then she would have to admit that she would have sex pre-marriage, even though it was not her fault. But yeah, nevertheless, Claire, looked dorky, and then Connor talked to her, and then she looked less dorky. And then season 9, she was accused of having a boob job by Jenna, but then Claire tells her, "Look at my eyes." She doesn't have her glasses on. It says, "I got laser eye surgery." So basically, she was without the glasses. She looked a bit better. Worst part is Jenna stole Casey from Claire. that worked out well. I think Casey would have been better with Claire, and that's the truth. But yeah, Claire looked pretty, and she looked a little frumpy at times. It's probably because of her background, like her parents trying to push the Christian values on her, that she questioned her faith when they divorced. Well, she's been told they have to be together. They do tell her it's not really her fault, which is good. But yeah, Claire looked pretty calm and all that. And not Sig, Eli dated her and all that. Number 3 is Liberty. So Liberty had a good glow up, I think, honestly, in seasons 4 and 5 more so. So Liberty was this basic character in the first 3 seasons. She was a character of color, which the writers almost automatically gave her bad storylines, which was stupid as hell. And we are just past Black History Month. The fact is that Liberty, was this go-getter and A-type who basically put grades above everything else. Her parents kind of did have an influence on her go-getter territory, if you will. Season 2 was when she was at her worst with the go-getter stuff. When she was coaching the girls' floor hockey team, she tried to do stuff like Napoleon, even dressed up like him. But the hockey team decided to boot Liberty, saying, "Screw you, Libs." But yeah, Liberty was trying to fit in with JT, even though JT would reject her, even one time pretending he was gay with Toby. But, Liberty wanted to live a normal life. I mean, she wanted to have normalcy and all that. She ended up being with Towers in season 3, the strong silent type. Literally, I don't think Towers said one line of dialogue. They broke off in season 4 before the first episode, like during the summer, and Liberty was trying to get back with JT and all that. And Liberty looked prettier by season 4. And that was when Liberty ended up being with JT, mostly to pair up during the drama club. Drama club trying to do Dracula, but Raj said no, it's too gory in the whole vein of the Rick situation. Although Dracula did not borrow heavily from the source material, so they're basically pissed off that Raj would do such a thing like that. So anyway, they get mad at him. They write the Raj's song about his tyranny and all that. And they're not wrong, because what do we see from Raditz? We see, oh, he's angry with stuff and doesn't want stuff because of the Rick situation. Fine. Does he help the school in the aftermath? Not really, no. If this song tells about Radich's stuff in the aftermath, then you know that he's not doing a damn thing about it. He, of course, takes things badly from JT and Liberty, puts him in detention, and then the next episode, he's out the door. I think that was the final straw, and the school board said, screw it, we get rid of him. And that's when Liberty and JT realize they have feelings for each other. Liberty announces in season 5 she's actually 5 months pregnant with JT's kid. JT then does whatever he needs to do to provide for the kid and willing to do it because he's trying to prove to his grandmother that he won't be like his father and walk out. So JT does that. Unfortunately, Jay, that devil on the shoulder, did he have an ugly duckling transformation? No, he looked hot, but infuriating. But yeah, so you know, JT's put in the drug trade. He tries to get out of it, but Jay doesn't help him out with things. Liberty then breaks up with JT, has her baby. The worst part is, I think there was a B plot when Liberty had her kid, or was it a C plot? I think it was a B plot. Of course, she has to give it up, and then that kid's going to Seattle. Liberty has postpartum, but her parents don't give a damn. And you know that, you know, why would they do this? Liberty suffer. Well, most women have postpartum after giving birth and all of that. They just didn't want to help her out. They just basically had to suck it up buttercup thing. I feel bad for Liberty. And then season 6 is when she gets jealous of JT getting close to Mia because of little Isabella. And I get it. Like, Liberty had a right to be jealous. But Liberty's the one who gave up the baby and gave up everything, the relationship with JT. And JT reminds her that she's just petty and she ended it. She's probably just feeling bad that she broke it up. And he has a point. Unfortunately, though, Liberty is pursued by JT, but then he gets stabbed, and of course, Liberty only knows by Toby admitting that JT wanted to be with Liberty and not Mia. Liberty does get an attraction to Damien in season 7. The only problem is Damien's supposed to be with Emma. Well, Liberty has great feelings for Damien. You know, they're dueling valedictorians in all sense. But yeah, they get together and Toby spills the tea again in front of Emma, and Emma's upset. But she decides to give Liberty a pass and hate on Damien because she didn't want to break up a 6-year friendship. Bullshit, that didn't happen. That was frenemies, if anything. But yeah, Liberty looked attractive and all that. The worst part is she didn't really get a boy in the college years and all that. She just disappeared. Her go-getter technicality. Number 2 is Connor. And yeah, I think he was an ugly duckling transformation. So Connor came into our screens in season 8 as part of the gifted class and Snake's godson and all that. And everyone was like, well, how did he become the godfather to Connor? Well, it could have been Lucy because, Lucy was a pretty attractive person and, maybe she had Connor, but no, it wasn't. And I originally thought that, oh, it was maybe he was the son of Snake's brother, who is gay, but he could adopt. But nope, it's not. It's probably for people in college and all that. And you can't have it for family. Yeah, it can't be any member of the family, godmother, godfather, godson. So anyway, Connor was this guy in season 8 who had issues and all that. The episode causing a commotion, it did paint Connor in a bad light with his obsessions and fixations that forced Shep to trip over his lamp and him biting and hitting Allie. That's inexcusable. I will say that. Connor gets diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. A lot of people don't want to say that word because of what Dr. Hans Asperger did, but it's how he was diagnosed. It's like me. I'm an Aspie myself. I mean, I got to be careful how to say it myself. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, Connor shows a lot of things with autistic people, like yours truly. I did a video about Connor and myself. How old is that? 3 years old? 3, 4? Well, anyway, it's one of my most popular Degrassi videos. But anyway, Connor, was a great character and all that. He had his awkward phase in 9 and 10, seasons 9 and 10, trying to live with the world, like, having a online girlfriend who was trying to take advantage of him, and also his obsession with women's clothes, trying to do an app for dressing yourself and all that. But he went too far. He went off to some school for half a year and then came back and all that. And he looked better than ever. He looked more handsome. And, he looked so good. Jenna was with him. And that was one relationship Degrassi should have put their eggs in a basket about. Why hate on Jenna and Connor? Like, it was a good relationship and all that. Degrassi, you infuriate me. And number 1, by far, like, this was the inspiration for it. Actually, the inspiration to this was Watch Mojo or Miss Mojo doing a top 20 ugly duckling transformations in TV and movie. And Degrassi didn't get one. I wish they had one. Well, maybe teen movies or teen TV shows. Emma would have been on the list. But of course, it is Emma. So Emma had a great face. And of course, as I said, it has nothing to do with season 1 when Mary McDonald had her eating disorder and all that. It has something to do with season 4, more so than 1. Emma was a decent character. She didn't really look pretty and all that in the first few seasons. Rumors were circulating that the writers wanted like an ugly duckling type for Emma, and this one actress who went on to decent fame was in the running, but because she was more pretty, she lost out to Miriam McDonald. So the fact of the matter is that, yeah, you got yourself Emma. She did have some awkward fashion sense. She had the Che Guevara shirt. But what's even more impressive was her dolphin pants. It's like, dolphin pants, really? And in the one episode when Manny becomes part of the spirit squad and Emma tries to tell her stay away from Paige because she's a bitch and she doesn't care about the issues of cheerleading. Although Paige says, we have boys on our team. Emma doesn't care about gender, sexism, how they're portrayed in the media. Emma wears this god awful um, sweater and all that with the collar, and they compare that to a sweater you put on dogs in the winter. And practically, was that a statement to Emma trying to say that, I don't like how people are treating you and all that? Emma had a jealous streak towards Manny. There's no question about that. I'm not defending that at all. I I defend Emma to a to a um to a fault, but not that. So anyhow, Emma, was this girl, and she really wanted a guy to be with her. She had feelings for Sean when he came into the school, but Sean ruined it by pushing her during an argument with Jimmy. Season 2, she gets back together with Sean because nobody else would give her the time of day. And she had her problems and all that. But Sean tried to calm her down. Season 3, that relationship ended when Sean drew towards Jay and the Candy Bandits. And Emma was upset. And Emma had a right to be mad. She wanted to destroy Sean by any means necessary, even though that it jeopardized her relationship with Chris. She found Chris very attractive and all that. She wanted to go towards Chris, but he had a girlfriend, so she backed off, tearing apart things with her and Manny. And this is one time when Manny was at fault, not Emma. But anyhow, Emma is with Chris and all that. She still stays with Chris, but then over the summer they end up breaking up, and Emma has not really eyes on anybody. But that's when season 4 happens. She looks a lot better. Her braces are gone. Her fashion sense is great. She's actually getting into her own skin. It's like great. But we see the ugly, ugly, ugly side of Emma's glow up. Emma may have had a glow up, but there was an ugly side to it. Pun not really intended, but somehow it's intended. Anyhow, so Emma and Chris broke up, and Emma, didn't have somebody, and she was upset that Liberty, excuse me, wanted to be towards Chris. Manny wanted to help her out, maybe get Chris back, but Emma says, I don't want Chris back. What do you mean? This isn't about me wanting him back. Really? What's it about? And then Emma says, if Chris and Liberty are together, what does that say about me? And Manny snaps, saying, wow, this is a mean statement you said, and you say plenty of them. Of course, the whole abortion angle. Despite the fact that Emma does back down on the abortion angle, with Manny saying that it is Manny's body, and Emma doesn't have any say in it. She wishes she did, but she couldn't. She had to shrug it off. So what ends up happening is that Emma, Liberty learns the plan. Her and Manny break off from Emma. Emma is left friendless and then easily inclined to be with Paige's clique and all that. Now, fight me on this, but I think Emma thought that, well, she had a glow up. She's like, I don't need Chris anymore. I can find another guy, and I can, skies will swoon over me. But nobody did. So Emma, instead of having to walk her tail between her legs for Chris, decided to try to ruin Chris and Liberty. I don't know if Chris wanted to be with Liberty in the first place. There's conflicting reports on that. But anyhow, Emma screwed up terribly. I think that's what it was. Emma wanted a better boyfriend, thinking that boys will swoon over her, but she never got that. So she didn't want to go back to Chris. Unfortunately, it cost her dearly, like Manny and Liberty. And fight me on that. But anyway, yeah. So she goes towards Paige's clique and all that, gets booted from Paige's clique for so solidarity for Rick. Suppose it. But I mean, Emma learned the Orange Ribbon campaign was not meant to help victims of domestic violence. It was to get rid of Rick and all that. She protects Rick in a sense and then gets chastised. The only people she hangs out around is Toby, Rick, Heather Sinclair / Jimmy on the Quiz Bowl team. So, unfortunately, though, she's got two boys who kind of have lusted after her. Toby actually has been tried to get with Emma mostly in season 1, and then when he finds Kendra, he breaks off from Emma in a sense. And of course, Rick, we all know, thinks that Emma's niceness is like friendship is more than that, but it's not. So Emma is stuck with these people and she nearly dies for that as Rick puts the gun to her, but thankfully Sean saves her life. And everyone knows that Emma wanted to be with Sean in the aftermath. I mean, Sean went to Wasaga to deal with his PTSD, fine, but Emma was upset. And who can blame her? I mean, like, Emma was upset. She wanted to be with Sean. Guy saved her life. If Toby had tried to save her life and did so, she would be attracted to Toby, and maybe we give Toby some good storylines. But we don't. So yeah, so Emma's glow up happened, but it bit her in the butt. Like her glow up actually may have been the worst thing that happened to her, and she had a lot of bad things to happen to her. I mean, she lost Manny and Liberty as a friend because she was above her own station. She wanted to be with Paige's clique, but got bit off when she protected Rick, quote unquote, protected Rick. And then, of course, she didn't really have a steady boyfriend. Season 5 is when she tries to be with Peter because Peter is the first boy she's liked since Hurricane Sean flew through her emotional trailer park, which we all know was the result of the shooting. Is that she was hoping Sean would stay in Toronto and be with her, but he went back to Wasaga. Unfortunately, we all know Peter's true colors with Manny. He wanted to be with Manny more so than Emma, but Emma never saw that. Emma's like, I need this more than you need, Peter. I need this. And she has a point. She wants to be with a guy because everyone she knows, like Liberty, Manny, a few other people, they have partners. And Emma feels left out. So she stays with Peter despite the fact of what Peter did to Manny. And that just pisses me right off. This was truly out of character for Emma. In essence, I wish that the seasons 1 to 4, 3.5 Emma, as I call her, was there. If that Emma was with Peter, Emma would never want to be with Peter. Emma would have learned what Peter did to Manny and basically said, screw it, you're not getting my affection. Unfortunately, she has a relationship with Peter. Pema basically pissed a lot of people off. Sean comes back in the picture. She finds herself drawn to Sean. I think that she never lost faith in Sean. And a lot of people probably think that maybe Peter was a placeholder. If Sean came back, then she would dump Peter off for Sean. I think that's what she wanted to do. Sean came back, and Emma had all those feelings of season 4 back in her head. Jay tries to ruin it by saying the whole gonorrhea thing, but Sean realizes that it wasn't all Emma's fault. Emma needed help in the whole thing. So, unfortunately, Sean leaves for the army. Emma's left high and dry. She tries to think of ways to keep Sean around, but she couldn't. She ends up breaking with Sean for Damien, who gives her affection, but Damien, in the worst way possible, with the purple dragon thing, and Emma gets basically drawn to Damien, and then that relationship ended terribly, and then she ends up with Kelly in season 8, thinking that she needs a guy to make her sane because, she feels like she's lost Liberty and Manny. She says that in Holiday Road. She wanted to be with Kelly more so because, Liberty and Manny left. Liberty left for sorority. I thought it was pre-law, technically. And Manny left for Hollywood. Emma was all by herself. It's like, well, wait a minute. Wouldn't they have put more people in Emma's dormitory if Emma was the only one left? Or would Emma have to move in with new people? And she just couldn't find herself. Emma was a mess. I'll say that much right now. But anyway, Emma wins the Ugly Duckling Award. Anyway, so I've kept you in the loop for 30 minutes. That's good enough. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.